Okay, hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. So we are from group 2 from class C. So now we would like to presentation and explain about an introduction to language science. So this is our member. They are Rizca Aulia, Wardini Mukti, Andini Mega, Vindy Jelita dan Sofianisa Elma. So the first material will be presented by Sophie. Sophie, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. So, in this slide, I would like to explain you about characteristic of language. There are 6 characteristic of language. The first one is semantic. Semanticity refers to the idea that language can communicate meaning and that specific signals can be assigned specific meanings. And then the second is arbitrariness. Refers to the fact that there is no necessary relationship between actual object or event in the world and the system symbol that the language used to represent those object or even, for example, the word that goes with an object need not resemble the real object in any way. And then the third is discreteness, refers to the idea that components of the language are organized into a set of distinct categories with clear-cut boundaries between different categories. For example, uh, every speech sound in English in perspective as belong to the one about 14 phoneme categories. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next is displacement. Refers to a language ability to convey information about event happening out of sight of the speaker, spatial displacement, about event that happen before the met when the person speaks, and even that have not yet taken place as the person is speaking, temporal displacement. Different language accomplish displacement in different ways. English have a system of auxiliary verbs. For example, will, was, were, and had. And affixes, for example, is pre, in, predates, and at, in, dated, to signal when an event occurred relative to the moment of speaking or relative to other events. And then the next is duality of patterning, refers to the fact that we simultaneously perceive language stimuli in different ways. For example, as a collection of phoneme and as set of words. And then the last one is generative P, refers to the fact that language have fixed number of symbols, but a very large and potentially infinite number of messages that can be created by combining those symbols in different patterns. Okay, so that's all from me. I give it back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sophie, for the explain about characteristic of language. So next material is about uh, grammar, language origins, and non-human communication system will be presented by Rizca Aulia. So Rizca, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for moderator. And I want to explain about grammar, language origins, and non-human communication system. Okay, there are two main overarching ideas for how the language abilities of modern humans from language evolutionary ancestors, and the same ideas can be used to describe our relationship with our close living non-human relatives, namely the concept of continuity and discontinuity. For continuity, hypothesis is human language ability closely related to presenting communicative abilities and represents a relative modest achievement of these abilities. Next. Next slide. Research on communication skills in monkeys. Apes and monkeys provide a useful comparison with humans because some apes, such as chimpanzees, are closely related biologically to humans. Monkeys and apes are also highly intelligent, which makes them good candidates for sharing some of complex abilities involved in producing and understanding language. For example, understanding language requires listeners to recognize the meaning of semantic power of an utterance. It turns out that the capabilities are analog. Next slide, please. Next. Okay, studying app communication is a way to investigate why humans have the language abilities they enjoy. Abilities that apps demonstrate are likely to have been present in the less common ancestor of apps and humans. It is possible, but less likely, that the shared abilities of humans and apps developed independently after the two species split between 5 until 8 million years ago. One thing that all language sensitivists agree on is that the human capacity for speech is in adaptation in the Darwinian sense. Next slide.
Okay, thank you, Ika, for the explanation. So will be continued by Vindy. Vindy, time is yours.
Thank you, Andini. Grammar, language origin, and non-human communication system. Another line of thought starts with the idea that words like units had to be present before more complex sequence of words emerged by Attition 2000. Before using words, we have to appreciate the idea that sounds can be associated with object, the naming inside. Non-human primates already have some semantics or meaning as stake in their call system. They use alarms calls to activate knowledge of particular kinds of animal rather than treating them as mere noise. Next slide, please. According to the language bioprogram hypothesis, human genetics creates the mental equivalent of the heart, stomach, stomach, lungs, or another organ, like the heart, which depends on other organ for support. The language organ relies on other mental abilities. However, like the heart, which specialize in taking deoxygenated blood from the body, passing it into the lungs, and recirculating oxygenated blood back to the body. The language organ also specializes in particular. It specializes in building the hierarchical symbolic representation that underlie the ability to speak and the ability to understand speech. Okay, I think that's all. I give it back to moderator.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Vindy, for the explanation. So next material will be delivered by me about language and thought. So determinism, the idea that the language you speak strongly limits the thought you are capable of thinking, has fallen out of favor in psychology and linguistics. But the idea the language affects thinking in less drastic ways has gained traction in the last decade or so. Many drastic ways has gained traction in the last decade or so. Many theorists now believe that language can affect non-linguistic or non-language perceptual and thought processes, so that speaker of one language may perform differently than speaker of other language on a variety of perceptual and cognitive tasks. Different languages express numbers in different ways, so the language could influence the way children in a given culture acquire number concept by Hunt and Agnoli in 1991. Research on the relationship between language and thought show that the way your language works does not change the way you perceive the world. That is, it does not give you superhuman perceptual abilities that other people cannot have unless they speak your language, but it may make some cognitive tasks easier. Tasks can be made easier if your language motivates you to pay attention to particular perceptual features of the world, as in color naming, or gives you practice performing specific kinds of mental processes, like mental rotation or facial expression recognition. So that's all from me. So next material is about description of the language processing system that presented by Wardini. So Wardini, time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. Okay, I would like to explain about a description of the language processing system, which is language is a mental module defined as a mental ability that is domain specific, genetically determined, with a distinct neutral structure and computationally autonomous, according Further 1963. The very natural structures mean that certain brain regions are associated with certain calculations. Computational autonomy means that a mental processing mechanism does its work independently of what is happening simultaneously in order processing mechanisms, usually called encapsulation. Modular processes help break down highly complex systems into more manageable chunks. The production system begins with conceptual knowledge and ends with a set of speech sound. And then the comprehension system starts with a set of speech sound, like phonemes, syllables, and words, and maps them into a set of concepts of or meanings. Next, please. So the last is about summary and conclusion. So we conclude.
from this material, which is language is a form of communication that is used to transmit information between people who speak the language and serves other functions, such as social bonds. Has characteristics that are not shared by other forms of communication, and then language different from other communication system with grammar. Grammar is a tool for language users to create an unlimited number of messages from a limited number of symbols. There are many arguments about modern language, simultaneously suggesting that grammar is genetically determined, but that isn't that is not the result of natural selection. Maybe that's all from me. I'll give back to moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wardini, for the explanation. So that's all from our presentation about Introduction to Language Science. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.